Welcome to Live and Buy in Texas. I am your host, Cynthia Corder. And today we're talking about flipping vintage trailers, including Airstreams. I'm so excited about this show. Thanks for coming on, Tinaya.
Absolutely. Love the studio space. It's really just coming together in here.
All right, so we're going to talk about flipping trailers. This is something that I've seen on your social media. I've seen, we've talked about it, and you have a passion for it. So I want to hear where it started, but your Instagram handle is the Hippie Agent.
Yes.
So tell me about the Hippie Agent. That's just, I love it.
So I've always been just a bit of a hippie at heart, traveler, funky, eccentric spirit.
I see that. I see that.
And at one point, I even had, I've had several of them, a little VW Beetle and really not at your typical realtor car. You're used to seeing agents roll up in, luxury, etc. But I just loved that Beetle, and I would drive it to showings, and I had a little peace love and a little house on the back of the car, and I was like, I'm just gonna go lean full into this. And so that's where the handle came from.
What color was your Beetle?
I've had a light silver one, a dark silver one, and a red one.
All right, now I love it. So I've got your bio here, and you are originally from Oklahoma, went to school there. You've got all these fancy degrees, cum laude and a bachelor's degree in history. So I get it with you in your whole vibe. So you were spent 10 years in San Antonio and New Braunfels, right? And so is that where you got into the trailer flipping and real estate? And tell us your story.
It kind of all started when I first moved to Central Texas. It started with an Airstream. So I was still in college. I was looking for a place to go. This was right when the Great Recession was just kind of percolating, starting. People were, what's going on, right before the big crash. And I was like, well, I'm thinking I need to move. So I was on Google. I was like, I still need to finish my degree. What has hills, a river, and a university? San Marcos, Texas. I had an Airstream at the time. I believe that one was a 1978 or a 1979 land yacht, and packed up. I got accepted to Texas State, moved, stayed and this was before they were popular, before they were even really food trucks like that around Austin, and renovated that one, lived in it while the whole world was crashing, right? The world's on fire, and I've got this little rent-free Airstream. I'm just paying lot rent in an RV park, going to school, polished it, sold it, and it was turned into a coffee truck, which is a shame looking back on that one. It was nearly in perfect, usable condition that it ended up that way, but it was shipped overseas to France.
So let me get this straight. You had this trailer. You were in college, young girl. Before trailers were even really a thing. Now it's a whole movement.
It's a whole thing now.
So did you hook this trailer up to your bug?
No. Actually, I had one of my in-laws. My sister-in-law's boyfriend at the time, we had a truck, but my husband at the time wasn't able to bring it down, so had him do it. Ended up having an incident with it, parking into a hotel in the AC, but that's a whole other story. I got it here, got it to Texas, and then eventually ended up doing all the polishing work while I was living at the RV park. And moved it one other time somewhere closer to the river, because that was kind of the beauty of it. Hey, you don't like the neighbors, hitch up and roll out, right? So when it came time to sell it, we were just, we had a lot of interest from people around Austin. They were just kind of becoming a thing. And the gentleman who ended up buying it was an importer and exporter, and he turned it into a coffee bar. Yeah.
That's amazing. So tell me how you find them, one, right? And then what you say polishing. Is that like polishing the metal on the outside?
Yeah, it's polishing it to that mirror shine. So they don't come from the factory perfectly shiny like that. And
really?
they have a nice gleam to them from the factory, but they have a clear coat on it, and there is a whole process of taking off that clear coat. When I did it that first time, we were literally out there with cans of aircraft stripper and little plastic scrapers to get that, because the clear coat had been sun damaged. And so we're like, why don't we just take it all the way off?
How do we fix it?
Looked into all the steps, and the information wasn't as widely out there as it is now, but
Right.
learned the process of how to polish it. And there's been several improvements to that whole process in the last decade since I started. But yeah, to your question, how we find them.
Yeah.
So, scouring Facebook, scouring Craigslist back in the day.
Okay.
eBay was also a popular source. But then sometimes just going down the side of the road, I have such an eye for them now. I can even, there's a Spartan over there. I see an Airstream in that field. And I will just drop a map pin on my Google Maps and then later go to the tax rolls just like you would looking for someone's property to buy or sell. And I find out, okay, whose property is this trailer sitting on, and send out a letter. See if they want to
So
sell
how
it.
many have you done since you've started this Airstream vintage trailer flipping?
I don't even know that
passion?
I don't
You can't
even know
even
I
count. You did so many you can't count. So the outside, you have to do the outside. So what does the inside look like? Because I've seen some, of course, on other YouTube channels, they're outfitted. Do you try to do custom, contemporary, or you seem like the vintage, bring it back to its original glory?
Try and touch as little as possible, because everyone wants
really?
to do their own thing. Everyone wants to have their own spin, and they want to have their own project and make it their baby. So if there isn't much to do, it's getting it super clean and just presentable. A lot of them, it's about making sure, and this is all Thad, my husband, would do this, making sure that they're safe and functional to be back on the road, right? The bearings and wheels, that none of that's going to come flying off.
Yeah.
And that we've got at least some blinkers so that people can make a turn signal when they're going to go take it to do whatever they want with it. But sometimes that involves repairing subfloors, installing new flooring, maybe some light upholstery work. It's kind of a mix of a house and a car together, But some, it's just a matter of getting them out of the field where they're just slowly being reclaimed by the earth, right? And making sure that they can then go on their journey to someone else who's going to do great things, like turning them into food trucks and all their wildest dreams. So
I've seen them around Austin as food trucks. Well, we've seen them everywhere. Recently, I went to Oklahoma, and they had one coming out of the side of the
in Hochatown.
Of Hochatown, yes, that was very cute, and they're very small inside. Though there's not much space.
Yeah. If you're tall, the little Airstreams and Aragosi's can be a challenge. There are some big ones out there too.
So somebody's driving around along the Texas highway, and they see a little bit of this, vintage gold, and in a barn somewhere. And so you drop a pin drop, and then you can tell them practically how they can do that. So they can go on their local.
So you just go to your local CAD, and you take whatever that. You kind of compare that pin drop. Maybe that pin will be close to a road or a street, and your CAD has a map search feature, and then you can just look at your map, look at the CAD's map, and kind of see, okay, where's that pin meeting up? Click on the property. It's going to pull up that property owner's information. And from there, I like to use the geographic layer so that I can see, like, okay, there's a tree here and a pond here. I bet it's on this property because I see the pond and I see the tree. It matches up.
Then you Google Earth it, and then you're like, ooh, there it is.
Yeah.
And so the CAD, that's the appraisal district, and whatever county you're at. So you just search it, and then you can get the owner's information.
Yeah.
And, skip trace them or something to maybe get the phone number. Yeah. And then submit an offer. So tell me, so these are vehicles, so there's a title to them.
Mm-hmm. There's a title. Sometimes there's not a title. Sometimes you've got to go through the process of getting a bonded title. All sorts of different ways to do that. You got to set up an appointment with your county sheriff. They're going to run the VIN on it, make sure it's not stolen property, so that you can go then do the process of filing title for it. But just like a car.
Yeah. So that's not too big of a deal. Obviously, you want to be wary and make sure
it's
not stolen. But
it's something that we have done on behalf for other people as an additional service. Like if you want, want us to go get this titled for you, we can do all the steps, but it's just an extra, cost, because it is a process. It is paperwork and a lot of trips to like your DMV type of situation.
Yeah. So you can't sell it probably without a title?
You can sell it without a title.
You can.
And then it's just up to the buyer to go, make sure they haven't bought and stolen property. I mean,
yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost for a trailer? And
It can it can really depend on the low end, maybe $2,000 to buy one of these that's at least somewhat usable, because the metal itself has value, right?
Okay.
So it has scrap value. On the high end, you can get into the $30,000, $60,000 range, all the way up to things that are being sold at Sotheby's auctions for over $100,000.
Wow. So you brought some pictures today. Tell us about some of the pictures of the ones
So
you
I
brought.
think some of the pictures are going to be of a cute little Airstream that we did for one of Thad's cousins. Polished that up, and they're using it as a pool house in Arizona, out in Phoenix.
What a great idea, a pool house.
Yeah, just super cute little cabana spot to get changed, little AC unit on it. And I think another one is probably one of the last trailers I have for sale right now. It's going to be a 1977 Rocket Supreme. It's a silver streak, so not quite an Airstream, but it has one of the best layouts I've ever seen. Like, they had a sofa reupholstered in it, and it can fully fold all the way into a bed. You've got a sofa on one side, sofa on the other side, dinette in the middle, full-size bed in the middle of the hallway. Just an excellent layout and a super clean trailer. I don't even remember how we found that one, but we used it to go to Big Bend and just had a fantastic time with it.
Wow. There was a season of my life, you may not know it, where I lived, I called it my tiny living era, and it was in a trailer. Yeah. So that's how I got to Galveston. I lived in a trailer we parked it at Tiki Tom's. Like, we got the spot, and then we went and bought the trailer.
Yeah, it's a popular thing in Texas, especially.
Fun.
Yeah, especially with the weather that we have. I mean, we have a large snowboard community, and so the availability too of trailers constantly being traded hands is here in this state. It's just a really popular option for people, whether it's to recreate or live in. And then with just the unrestricted land that we have available in Texas, the options if someone wanted a full-time on their own property in an RV, it's doable in this state because you're not running into those county level ordinances like you have in other states.
Yeah, like deed restrictions or something. So I'm glad you brought up the land. So when you have a trailer, where do you park it? Like, let's talk about the bathroom facilities. Do you have to have a septic tank, or do you have to have city sewer, or
so
how do you?
I mean, in theory, if you want to just live off raw land on your own and not have septic, you certainly could. Then take it into whatever your nearest dump station. A lot of big RV parks and stuff would have a dump station you could use for a fee, etc. But if you were there full time, truly, you'd be doing that quite often.
Yeah.
Kind of a stinky mess. A perfect scenario, you'd have that septic permitted from your county.
Right.
I see a lot of people that will do that, go that route, and already have kind of the idea. Maybe they're going to build something later on the property, so they'll go to the county with those plans for the actual house size they intend to build, and have the appropriate septic for that size of house installed, and then just use the RV hooked up to that septic while they continue to build out their barn dominium or custom home.
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's very common in Galveston County where you see even a second, like mother-in-law quarters or something. Not a fancy Airstream, flipping an Airstream, but this is kind of a fun take on a flipping business, right?
Yeah,
because it's not real estate. It sounds like
it's a little adjacent, it's something that people can live in, but it's got wheels, there's a title process, but it's different, just it's similar but different,
Get your creative process on. So I love that. So how can the people watching our show today get a hold of you besides your Instagram handle at the Hippie Agent? Are you still selling trailers?
Yeah, I do. We've got one that's getting the finishing touches put on it, and will be going up for sale soon. It's going to be, it's just a great trailer. I love that one. It'll be for sale soon, but yeah, you can reach out to me on my cell phone directly, or my email. PM me, DM me, however that works. Whatever the kids are saying, get a hold of me about that trailer. But yeah,
we will be sure that Tinaya's contact information is in the description, so you can reach out to her. I thank you for coming on down and hanging out with us today.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to share.
So if you like the content that you watched today, if you want to see more videos like this, to live and buy in Texas, it's just all things Texas, hit the subscribe button. Leave your comment about your flipping adventures. And if you have flipped any kind of vehicle or a vintage trailer, maybe you have a vintage trailer that Tinaya may want to look at.
Yeah, connect. Let's talk about it.
Wonderful. Awesome, girl. Well, keep flipping.